We begin by solving our word problem by taking our first step, which is reading the problem through 3 times. Okay. Now, in this question, there is a lot of keyword language, so I want you to make sure that you do highlight the information which you're going to need. And in this question, this is what I would probably classify as a little bit of a tricky question. Okay, so in this question, when we've gone through and we've read it through 3 times, we go to our second step, and that is introduce the variables. Now, looking at this question, we have 2 numbers, and how I'm going to denote them is I'm going to let x be the smaller number, and therefore I'm going to let y be the larger number. And going into step 3, we're going to translate the information. Now, in this particular case, in this question, the language is a little tricky, so we really have to pay attention to those keywords that are in it. Now, I'm going to actually go to the second sentence first, and it says, the sum of the larger number plus 1/3 of the smaller number is 26. So the sum of the larger number plus 1/3 of the smaller number is equal to 26. That's going to give us our first equation. Now, going up to the sentence at the top here, it says twice the larger number is greater than 3 times the smaller number by 19. Now, what that means is twice the larger number is greater than 3 times the smaller number by 19. So that means we're going to take the difference between those two. So 2x minus 3x is equal to 19. This is, again, one of those questions that you really have to pay attention to what's going on in the wording and picking up on those keywords. Okay, so that gives us our 2 algebraic equations, which we have completed in step number 3 by doing the translation. And now we're ready to go to step number 5, and we're ready to solve the equations. So again, we need to look at these equations and see if we can add them together right away and get rid of something, either x or y, and we cannot. But what we could do in the first equation is if we multiply that by 9, we could end up making that x3. So let's look at that. So we would have 9y plus 3x is equal to 26 by 9, which would be 234. And that would leave us with this equation right here, which would be 2y minus 3x is equal to 19. Now, when we add these together, it would give us 11y is equal to 253. If we divide both sides by 11, y comes out to be 23. Okay, now in this case, we do want to find both numbers. So we're going to have to do some substitution into one of our equations to figure out what our x value is going to be. So we just found out that our y value is equal to 23, so we want to find our x value. So we're going to substitute it into our first equation we had, which is y is equal to 1/3 x is equal to 26. My apologies, that should be a plus sign. So we're going to have 23 plus 1/3 x is equal to 26. So we'd have 1/3 x, and if we subtract 23 from both sides, that would give us equal to a value of 3. And then we're going to multiply each side by 3 to isolate our x. These would cancel, and x would be equal to 9. So we do know that our variables are 9 and 23. 9 would be our smaller number, 23 would be our larger number. But before we answer our question, for sure, we want to go ahead and go and check. So we're going to substitute our y and our x that we found into our second equation. So So we have 2 times 23 minus 3 times 9 is equal to 19. 2 times 23 is 46. And 3 times 9 is 27. That's 19. 46 minus 27 gives us 19. Right side is equal to the left side, so we know in fact that we are correct in our answer of x is equal to 9 and y is equal to 23. So we always want to end up our equation with a sentence. So we're going to say, therefore, the two numbers are 9 and 23. We could have also written them as 9, 23 as well.